Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. For those that are new, my name is Nelly. Being with the wrong person is one thing, but if you have to marry that person, that is another issue. Before you make those drastic decisions, you need to make time to get to know each other. One of the things that you would know that you're married to the wrong person or maybe dating a wrong person is you make assumptions of one another. Just because you know your partner so well doesn't mean you have to cut them off even before they open their mouth. Let's say you're having a conversation with your partner, and before you even open your mouth, they're beginning to cut you off. And they will tell you, I know what you're going to say anyway. That's the reason I cut you off. That is not listening. That is not giving the other person a chance to speak. And your answer is, you know what's on their mind. You may not know what's on their mind. That is disrespectful of the other person, especially if you don't give them a chance to speak. You're already taking each other for granted, and the next, they've got nothing that they can say that is good about you. This is when your partner has never said anything good about you. Then you're dating the wrong person. Your partner should support you all the time, but if he's got nothing good to say about you, then you're dating the wrong person, because they've got one problem or another to say about you. No matter how much you do it, it feels like you have to prove to yourself and you get nothing in return. They will still bring you down. This destroys a lot of relationships. Don't let your brain take over your mind and you start believing in your thoughts. You're good enough. It's just that the person that you're with doesn't feel like you're good enough. You need to make a decision if you want to stay in this relationship with the person that's going to constantly bring you down, or move out of that relationship. Everyone has got a choice. You need to make that choice if you want to stay or leave. Eventually, when your brain takes over your mind, you start believing everything, that maybe he's right, maybe I'm not good enough. And this is a person that has got narcissist traits. You don't need a person that is narcissist around you. Nobody's got a right to tell you you're not good enough. And the next thing that shows that you're with the wrong person is you feel like you have to wear this mask. A mask for yourself and a mask for the other person. You're putting aside everything that you believe in order to impress this person that doesn't even appreciate the things you do for him, just because you're trying to impress them. Then you're dating the wrong person, or you're married to the wrong person. Your partner should love you the way you are. It feels like this person is trying to mold you to something that you are not. They should accept you the way you are. Unless you've got a bad character. If you feel like you're being molded to somebody that you're not, then you're not with the right person. You need to tell them. Don't just pretend that everything is okay, because eventually you'll get tired of it. You're just never yourself, because you're living somebody else's fantasy, which is not yours. If you are single, then you won't be happy with this person, because you live your life trying to impress this person and satisfying their needs. What about your needs? And if you're not married, you need to discuss about these things. Thank God you still have a chance. Be transparent in what you want as well. And the next thing to see that you are married or dating a wrong person is when you have arguments or conflicts, they just remain unsolved and they're just thrown into this bucket. And every time you have this conversation or argument or maybe a conflict, you go back to that bucket and pick up whatever that was left unsolved and you bring it back into this new conversation. At the end of the day, you find yourself with piles of things that were left unsolved. When you are with the right person, there are times when you have to compromise. Because remember, this is a two-way thing. If you are able to show that you can compromise on this situation, then you will be able to compromise on the next situation. If you don't agree and you're both not willing to compromise, it ends up being a toxic relationship. This is a way where the enemy begins to creep in this relationship, and he will play the both of you without even you realizing it. You begin to take each other for granted and you're constantly pushing each other over this wall. By the time you know it, this relationship will be toxic. You don't want to stay in a toxic relationship because you're constantly pushing each other over this wall. By the time you know it, this wall is going to have a crack. Crack with the words that you speak towards one another. One day you won't be able to hold that wall, and it will go deeper and deeper. Your house will eventually crumble down and you won't be able to rebuild. This is when divorce comes in, and you won't be able to amend those cracks, the cracks that you both have created. This is a stage when you start comparing each other. When you start comparing with each other as well as other partners that are around you, obviously this relationship will not be able to sustain it. Sometimes we do this just because we want to get back at our partners, not knowing that this will backfire. Sometimes there will be other comparison, especially when you are now married, where you're now competing with one another. There's no ways you can be married to somebody and you are both in competition with one another. That is so wrong. Don't use your children to be the judge on what's happening between you. You need to be supportive with one another, no matter how much you earn. And the next step is, when you're not supporting each other, then you're both not on the right relationship with one another. Your destiny will not be aligned together. You'll never reach where you're supposed to reach with your destiny with this person that doesn't support everything that you do. They're always criticizing what you do. They don't even support the future decisions that you both make. They want to divert your destiny. This is when you start changing what you eventually wanted to do and change it to something else that you don't want to do just because you're pleasing this person. They want to divert what you want to do, even career-wise. And you clearly know that this is not what you wanted to do in the first place. That is why before you even get married, discuss about future arrangements, like your vision. What is your vision? Ask about what is your vision. Let's say you're eventually married to a pastor or maybe a politician and you don't even like people. And once in a while you have to say one or two things and you don't even like people. Pull yourself out and not be with this person, because you are contributing in that person's destiny and you're not supporting that person. There's no way that you can be married to a people's person and at the end of the day, you're not supporting that person. You need to support them and they need to support you in your career as well. When your partner doesn't believe in you, even when you have achieved on something, they won't support you because they don't believe in you. They will show no interest in whatever that you've achieved on, because they want it to be about them all the time. They don't care about you. They don't care about your achievement. People around you will acknowledge your achievement, but they will be the last people to acknowledge that. The next issue is respect. You know, a lot of wives think they respect their husband, and yet they don't. The Bible says that wives should respect and submit to their husband. You're thinking that you're respecting your husband, and they are not feeling that way. When you are in a relationship with somebody, don't take them for granted. There's no ways you can become someone's wife if you've got no respect. No man wants to marry a woman that has an attitude towards them. So do yourself a favor, just let them go. Because at the end of the day, you must marry somebody that you feel like this person, you can be able to submit to them. But if you don't feel like you need to respect this person, how are you going to be able to help them? Instead, you'd be controlling rather than become a helper. Look at Abigail. He married a man who's a fool called Nabal, but she didn't disrespect him. Instead, she did what she thought she could. She was wise enough to handle the situation the way she thought a wife should act. She didn't take her husband for granted. I'm sure some of you would have reacted differently. By reminding him that you are such a fool, you know your foolishness would have cost our lives today. She didn't do that. Instead, with her wisdom, she did what a wife could do. You know, when you're disrespecting your husband, you are opening a can of worms to yourself and your family and this relationship. And you're opening a can of worms for the Jezebel to come into your relationship. Maybe you're sending him to the Jezebels. Something has to change here. If you're both not willing to change, then you guys are on the wrong path. If you are already married, you need to change your ways. Change needs to happen, and you need to find a solution to this distance that you're both creating. The foundation that you lay at the early stages of this relationship is crucial. If the foundation of the house is destroyed, then definitely to collapse. There won't be any home. Neither of you would be able to see each other on a level that you can both sit down and listen to each other. Both of you are in this wrong relationship and you're married to the wrong person. Thank you for watching. This is content that you'd like to see in the next video. God bless you.